It's okay. All right. I'm kind of just accepting this.
You're in these groups to talk about math. So, but anything else in these groups are ineffective. Are you gonna help each other? Did everybody write down the homework? Because I'm gonna change the screen. Alright, so we're gonna graph these guys today. I said on the board, make sure you have an eraser because that's part of the process of learning to graph. Once you understand the graph, you might need an eraser, but the first time we do it, an eraser can be really helpful. So I'm going to graph this top equation, negative x plus 4. That's just a linear equation with a y-intercept 4 and a slope going down 1 over 1. You should. How'd you guys do on graphing your straight line? No, your line should be going down because of the slope is negative, and this has a negative slope. So I went down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1, down 1, right 1. Yeah. Yes, I did this on purpose. Any idea why I did it on purpose? Who knows why this particular one? Why did I do an open circle there? Any clues in the problem? Yes? Yeah, so right here it says x is less than -1. So after I draw my line, I take a look at the if statement, the rule about that equation. And that rule says that x has to be less than -1. So now I'm going to utilize the rule. And so yeah, -1, I like to kind of get my eyes on it. This dashed line is going to be temporary. But this is where x is -1, right here. So this equation is only true when x is less than that. So all of this I'm going to keep, but I'm going to erase everything else. So I am now going to erase this side of the line because x is only allowed to be less than -1. So this is where your eraser comes into play. Go through and know like where to draw the line and where not to draw the line. You won't have to erase as much. But in the beginning, it's best just to graph like you know how, and then erase according to the rule. So it's an open circle because it's not equal to. If it was equal to, it would have a closed dot there. Questions? All right, let's try graphing the second equation. The second equation is just a 3. So I'm going to write it with y. Say y equals 3. What function family is y equals 3? The constant, the one I ignored a lot. So here it is, y equals 3. Calvin, do you know what the graph's going to look like? Yeah, it's just this flat line at 3. There's no x, so there's no slope. There's no rise over run. So next, graph a line through y equals 3. That's what y equals 3 looks like. A flat, no slope line. So you graph it, and then you look at the erase rule. Okay, so for this middle one, x has to fall in between -1 and 2. Well, I still have my little -1 parameter here, so let me do that again where x is 2. And no one's going to tell you to draw these dashed lines. Like the book doesn't say it, but I find it really helpful to see. Okay, this is x -1 and this is x2, and my green line should really only be there. Okay, so I erase everything to the left and everything to the right. X is only between these values. I got a closed dot on this one and an open dot on this one, and maybe right now that'll start to click. This would be a bracket, and that would be a parenthesis. Ready for the third equation? Let's see a little thumbs up if you're ready for number 3. All right, number 3. Y equals 2x minus 5. Maybe I'll let you do that in your groups. You guys try to figure out where you want to erase, what it should look like, how to graph it. Use the y-intercept, use the slope. Graph 2x minus 5. We're supposed to write that. Oh, you started it. Way down here. So -5. Up 2 over 1. You put it all in the same one. Wow, why do you guys separate these? You guys put them all on the same one. All on the same coordinate plane. Don't make different graphs. I'm walking around and seeing 3 different graphs. They all belong together. Here's what the graph looks like. Then I look at my erase rule. It said x should be going greater than 2. That's 3. It's down here at -1. I don't know which one of y'all had that. Take a look at your end point is at the point 2, -1. So that's the process of creating a piecewise graph. That's what we're practicing today. Does anybody have any questions? So when I look at it, I got an open circle, closed dot, open circle, closed dot. You can't have a closed dot in the same x value. It breaks the rule of a function. For every input, there's only one output. So if I told you x is -1, could you tell me what y is? When x is -1, what is y? It's 3. I come up and this is where it's graphed. 3. Where x is 2, what is y? -1 right here. So don't hit an open circle. Go down or up to the closed dot. All right. So now we can kind of use this graph to check your homework. So this is the graph from your homework. So get out your homework. Keep this graph out. And you can check your answers by referring to your graph. Possibly. If your graph might not hit 8, you might have to do that. Kind of see that feature. Figure it out. Tell her on number 2 what you did with them. You mean the one half?
Yeah.
Yeah, one half.
Yeah.
How'd you do that one half? So how'd you break it into half? One half falls right here. So since there's a half to find
Yeah. I told him not to do it. I really
He asked me last year, I said, whatever you want to do.
I told him not to do it. It's not big. It's not big. You're not doing it.
Okay, does anybody have any questions? Oh, I didn't. Yeah, that's all of them. Does anybody have any questions? I'm gonna put up one more right now and let you try it. So let's see if you can get it now.
The Superman journal.
Ready to go?
I don't know how to take them off school days the week after she put the words up there. I would never do it.
So here's our piecewise function. We have y equals 3, y equals x plus 2, and y equals 4x. And then we have all these rules that help us determine which part to plug into. So number letter A, -8. Tristan, where would you plug in -8? You want to go to the top, the middle, or the bottom? Let me cover this up. Would -8 be true here, here, or here? -8 is less than -2. And sometimes that's really confusing because 8's a bigger number. So I always have to really think about those negatives. But -8 is less than -2. If I owe you $8, I'm more in the hole than if I just owed you 2. So I'm going to plug -8 into the top. But there's no x to plug it into. If there's no x to plug it into, then the answer is just 3. Because this would be a constant. It would just be a flat line. I don't have to plug in for anything. The answer is just y equals 3. The fancy way to write y equals 3 looks like this. Now Friday, I think by like fourth period, I stopped writing this because I was realizing it was tough for you guys to understand. And I just started writing y. The answer is y equals 3. This is the fancy way to write that. This means when I plugged in -8, my answer would be 3. That's just function notation. All right, x equals -2. Crystal, top, middle, or bottom? Yes, this one belongs in the middle. I cover this up. -2 should go in the middle. It's the only one it's true for. All right, Joe, x equals 0, top, middle, or bottom? Middle, because 0 is between -2 and 5. All right, Camden. 7/2. Top, middle, or bottom? Middle. 7/2, what's that decimal? So let me call it out. What's 7/2? 3.5. And 3.5 is in the middle of -2 and 5. It's always harder when you're in the hot seat. Middle again. Okay, Isabella, x equals 5, top, middle, or bottom? Middle. So I heard some students say, man, I didn't know what you were doing, Mrs. Baldwin, but I read the book and I got it. Anybody else doing that? Reading the book? Do it. Read the book. Read the book. It's really helpful. I didn't know what you were doing. Alright guys, let's try to create another graph. So flip over your graph paper and let's try that again. How did I do? Which one? This? Or any? This one? I never used it, did I? I never used the bottom one. Now, here's the x's I did use, right? They could have easily put another one and said 10. And had they said 10, 10 is greater than 5, and then I would have used it and made it 40. So thank you for bringing this up. Sometimes you won't use all three parts. So we didn't use the bottom one here. It all depends on what x values were asked for. You could be asked for any x values. If they would have put 10 in the list, 10 would have gone in the bottom. But they didn't. They put all x values that fell just in the top two. You don't always use all three parts. So you're gonna start with y equals negative x minus 4. So you begin at 0, negative 4, the y-intercept, and then you move a negative slope down 1 over 1. If you got it, make the whole thing. Don't wait. You got it, make the whole thing. Super slow. If you don't, peek at somebody's paper in your group. Peek at it. What's it look like? How to do it. Hey, you're graphing really quick. How are you doing that? You know, don't be too proud. Just ask. Where did you get that line from? That's why you're sitting next to each other. So you look at each other's notes, copy, ask questions. I don't know how to graph. I'm gonna copy you. You guys have a question? Lovely. Wait, so it says x less than 0. The only thing I would change is an open circle. Try to make it look like a big open circle. All right, how do we graph then the second one, y equals x? That's the parent linear function. You don't see a number, so you begin at 0. And the slope is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. So what's the top one say? Like, you guys say x, well, if x, You guys, so the first if statement is x what? Can you read that? X is what? X is less than. Over here, x is actually higher. So you should actually erase this side. Oh. They should never like overlap.
I never said anything.
The nose.
So the bottom one
Left was hanging.
I don't want to know.
Yeah, same. But I'm gonna talk to you today. So I'm very real in the morning and my phone's on.
Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
everything is connected other than yeah. The if statement for that is an equal to sign. Come on, Michael. Alright, let's take a look. I think I got it here. This is what you should be looking at. How'd you guys do? If both of your lines are going this way, that's an indicator that you've made a mistake. Your lines should never overlap. Okay? So if your lines are overlapping, you need to go back to your rules, your if rules, and rethink where you erased. You may have erased the wrong way. Okay, so now we're going to look at a graph and try to write the equation. Let's do this one. That one's really cool and fun. There's 3 equations we have to write. You guys, let's start by making for the first time ever. Yeah. Let's do f of x equals sign great big fancy bracket, which is a parenthesis, a little point, and a parenthesis. Alright, so we're going to do one equation here, a different equation here, and a third equation here. So I'm trying to write an equation in y equals mx plus b So I need a slope and an intercept. So let me look at the slope. All right, this slope goes down one, right one, down one, right one. That's my slope for my yellow line. It goes down and right, down and right. My y-intercept I can't see. I have to kind of keep drawing my line to see my y-intercepts. My b value, if I were to extend, would be right here. So I'm going to say -2. Oh, so observe slope and y-intercept. And then I need to make my if statement. Now this one begins at x equals 2. So I'm going to say less than or equal to -2. It's going this way, so I know it's where the x's are less than. It's a closed dot, so I do an equal sign. What's the equation here? Yeah, right here. Yeah, got it. Good job. So right here, x is everything between -2 and 1. But what do I put here? Ellie, you know what to put here? Ellie J? Kira, you know what to put here? 2. This is a constant. It's a flat. There's no slope. There's no rise over run. It's in the constant family. That's y equals 2. So I just put a 2. No slope. The most boring lines out there. No slope means there's no x in the equation. Just identify where it's going, and it's a 2. Anybody feel like they can get this last one right? Front to start? Okay. Isabella, let's hear it.
Line is 2x minus 2.
Did you say -2? I don't know about this -3 though. I gotta have it show them. So I see my slope is going up 2 over 1. I'm rising 2, I'm going over 1. So if I follow that here, here's my y-intercept. Yep, -3. Good job. Can you do the if statement? Greater than or equal to. So it's going this way. My x's are higher. That is the one. You got the number right. X is greater than 1. So if you're struggling with slope and y-intercept, please come in after school. We can graph one line at a time, and I can help you. Like if you didn't do the summer assignment and you do not remember this from Algebra 1, obviously if you can't graph one line, graphing 3 lines with open circles and if statements is impossible. So please come in and get it taken care of. You will be tested on Thursday this week. So tomorrow I'm passing out your quizzes so you can make corrections and see what's up on it. This is the last thing to learn in chapter 1. So here we are in week 4, and you guys have learned everything in chapter 1. On what? Yes. In your homework, you have to graph too, and then write the equations first. Yes, please do your graphs on graph paper. Whoa, you guys, what time is it? It's 9:09. How much time do you have in class? You got 5 minutes. Do not pack up. Start working. Don't pack up. You don't want to do this at home. It's a lot. So,
Yes. I don't want to. I want to know how to do it. I want to know how to do it. Oh,
you guys, where it talks about end behavior, you can skip that. Okay, we're gonna touch on that another time. So don't worry about the directions about end behavior. Okay. With this symbol, do an open circle. With this symbol, do a closed circle.
is that over my head?
Don't pack up. Where are you going? What class are you going to? You guys sit down. Sit down. So only horizontal. Vertical is if you checked your quiz rating, you are concerned. Please come see me after school.